On Sunday, Manchester City managed to comfortably beat Arsenal 3-1 and keep the pressure on Liverpool for the title spot. Let's look at the tactical battle between the two teams. Manchester City was supposed to line up in a 4-3-3, but this became a 3-2-4-1 with Fernandinho moving into midfield. Arsenal were assumed to line up in a 3-4-3, but they went with a 4-4-2, with Iwobi and Kolasinac as the wide midfielders. Man City only needed 48 seconds to score the opening goal, a goal that would already feature a lot of the tactical details that would go on throughout the match. Here, Sterling stays on the side, which pulls the fullback out, allowing Silva to make a run in behind. Silva then plays a low cross into the box. At this point, Arsenal have all 11 outfield players in their own box. Therefore, when Iwobi gets the ball, he's unsure what to do with it. And for some reason, Mustafi is still there, and City are able to score. The first element we can take away from the goal is that Arsenal started with quite a defensive setup. Arsenal defended in a zonal 4-4-2 shape. Aubameyang and Lacazette would take out the passing lanes to Fernandinho and Gundogan. Arsenal also had a very narrow structure, with the midfielder and fullback on the opposite side tucking quite far inside. Manchester City would attack in a 3-2-4-1 shape, with Fernandinho moving into midfield. During build-up, Fernandinho would be positioned as the right central defender. Only when City had possession around the halfway line, Fernandinho would move up. Even though this meant that City had a lot of players positioned in midfield, they hardly had any progression through the middle. This had three reasons. The first reason is that as Arsenal used quite a narrow shape, they were able to completely cover the centre of the field. The second reason had to do with City's defenders, who would take 3 to 4 touches, which allowed Arsenal to nullify the gaps when they appeared. The third reason was that when a gap did appear, it was usually Otamendi who was either too hesitant to play the ball or didn't see the option. Therefore, City mainly played over the sides of the field, for which they had two ways of attacking. The first was to have Laporte dribble into midfield on the left to try and create an overload on that side. Here Laporte dribbles into midfield, and as Iwobi steps out, City have a 3v2 in the last line. When this happened, Sterling would stay wide to pull the fullback to him, Silva would make a run, while Aguero would drop. The idea behind this was to try and pull the central defender out of position with Aguero's dropping movement. Emery tried to fix this by having Iwobi fall all the way back instead of pressing Laporte, which in combination with Arsenal's decent playing midfielders caused City to be unable to exploit this. The second way City used to attack over the wings is what's called an overload to isolate. Usually this started with City building up on the left, which then allowed City to switch the ball to the winger on the other side, who would have a lot of space. Here the ball is switched to Bernardo, who is in a 1v1. De Bruyne would then make runs into the space. Both City's second and third goals started with this type of attacking play. Here, City pull Arsenal to one side of the field. Fernandinho looks for the winger on the far side. Sterling plays a given goal with Gundogan and allows Aguero to score his second goal. And also with the third goal, the ball is switched to Sterling on the far side. Sterling gets past his man and Aguero scores his third goal. Arsenal didn't really create much, mainly due to the fact that their build-up was sloppy. Arsenal's defenders would pretty quickly decide to play long. And the problem with these long balls was that Arsenal would constantly lose the second balls. Arsenal lose the header and they're not in a good position to win the second ball. And here Arsenal again not in a good position to win the second ball. I don't really like to single out individual players, but Mustafi was quite poor in his decision making. Here he chooses to dribble forward instead of playing to Koscielny, which is still a fine decision. He also chooses not to play this ball to Torreira, but to the centre, while that pass can quite easily be intercepted by City. Here Mustafi decides to go for a long ball, but the ball is inaccurate and City have it back. Arsenal's first goal came from a moment in which they were able to win the second ball. Here they're forced to play a long ball. This time they're in good positions to win the second ball. This allows them to keep possession and Torreira to play a ball in behind. Lacazette has positioned himself between the lines, which has pulled Otamendi out of position. And from this they get a corner, from which they equalise. Other than that, Arsenal mainly got dangerous when they won the ball in the centre of the pitch. In the second half, Arsenal tried to build more from the back again. This was also aided by Manchester City not fully pressing them anymore. However, Arsenal still didn't get much further than playing it to the fullback and back to the central defender. In the final stages, Arsenal switched to a 4-2-3-1, while City fell back into their own half, which allowed City to create some dangerous counter-attacking opportunities. Anyway, that's all for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and as always, links to Patreon, Instagram and Twitter are in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.